Hiya, it's LindaLee, and I have a second Wall of Inspiration project share for the month of June. I just made this little faux piece of film, and I thought that I would actually share, because I'm going to do one more. So I figured I'd do it on camera, because once I do the flip through of my Carpetbagger Travel Journal, once I finish it, there might be a question, on this as a project. So I'm going to record the second one and share it with all of you. Now this is made from scraps, and let me just move this. When I do my eco dye, and I actually have to cut down my mixed media paper or watercolor paper, whichever one I decide to use, because it's just 1 inch too wide folded for the pot that I use on the stove. So when I go ahead and cut the paper down, it leaves me with this scrap. What I really do is I take the spiral binding out, the wire, and that leaves me with a nice clean piece of paper. So, because I'm not tearing it out of the book and I'm not pulling it at the perforation. So all I really did is turn it over and glue it together, and it kind of looks like a piece of film. So that's what I did. And then I couldn't find anything to put on the film. So I have this book. Jean-Claude Monet is one of my favorite artists. And I have this old book on his works of art that I've used with different little projects. So this is actually one of his paintings that I just cut into little bits. And what I did is I cut the description of the painting out as well. So it's from 1870. That way, Jewel, when she receives it, she'll be able to know what this was and where it came from and a little bit of history behind it. But it was kind of period to when I'm doing the Carpetbagger. Actually, it's a little sooner than, well, no, I guess it's a little later. But anyways, setting aside the dates, I'm going to make another one. So I wanted you to see how I did it. I already pulled a picture from this book, only because I didn't want to sit here and flip through pages. This is a book that I got at a roadside flea market type stand, and it's full of different works from Monet. So some of them are well known, some of them are from a private collection, so they're not as well known, the pictures themselves. But what I wanted to do is use another one because the slides are little. So this is like the size of the slide itself, and I can get 3 or 4 little slide type pictures out of this. I was having a hard time finding something small enough for the slide. So I found my way to this book, and that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to close the book, and this is the description that I'll put on the back. But first we have to construct. See, this is a full piece of that paper that I did tear out. I don't do that very often. Usually I take the whole wire out before I start using the papers. But anyways, this here is going to be our next slide. So I'm going to line it up, and we're going to glue it down, and I'm going to show you how I did it. So next time you trim paper and it has the funky spiral holes in it, especially if it's squared off, you can make something out of it. Okay, so basically I'm just going to glue this top to bottom. And then we're going to ink it. Okay, and now we'll glue the other end. Now the other one I only did long enough for like 4 slides, and I'll probably do the same, and then just cut the rest off. It gives you enough for maybe 3 remaining slides. Okay, so give that a second. This is what we're making. In fact, I'm going to just actually trim this down now because it's a little bit long. That way everything kind of stays in frame a little better. And then this end right here. Okay, so then I'll just trim this little piece right here, and then this is just a smaller strip. See, and it's big enough for 3 slides, or 2, whatever you want to do. It's garbage. Now the bigger piece, what I did, I don't know if you can kind of see, I'll bring it up closer. I used brown first because I was going to just use brown on the whole thing. But it wasn't dark enough for what I wanted. So I went over it with the black soot. But so that they both look the same, I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to put the brown, this is vintage photo, on this, and all I really did was rubbed over it, and it gave it a little bit of like a texture behind the black, and I just want them to kind of look the same. So I'm just kind of sliding this over the surface. I don't really, you know, pounce it or do anything with the distressing thing. And now I'm just going to go over it with the black soot, and I use the just little distress sponge thingy with it. And then we just kind of let this dry for a couple moments while we cut out our pictures. Okay. So this is the new one. It's a little darker than this one, but when it dries, it'll lighten up a little bit. So let's see if I can get that little white edge there. Okay. All right, so that's really it with the distressing. Now, to prepare the picture. Unfortunately, I'm gonna hurt that picture, but this is the one I really want. So I'm just going to trim this down so it'll fit into my little trimmer. That way I can use the blade in the trimmer to get a nice straight edge. I actually used my bigger paper cutter, but that's a little big on my desk, so we're going to try and use this. I'm just cleaning debris off my little blade so that I get a good cut. Sometimes that's what gives you a little torn edge, is if there's little bits of previous paper, little debris. So now I'm just holding it kind of up to the light so I can see the square. I know you couldn't, but I could. So I'm going to use that square picture. Let's see here. Oh, it's a little big, so let's just trim this edge. All right. Okay, so I just want a picture of the people. Monet didn't paint very many people. He liked nature a lot more than people. So I'm just going to take that part of the print and that will be our bottom slide. Now I think the next slide I want is of this little boat. Let's go ahead and trim this. So you can do this with any pictures. It doesn't have to be out of a fancy book or anything. I'm just using this because I really didn't have anything else that had small pictures. And while I was going through like my designer papers, this book was kind of in there. So that's how I came about using it. Okay. So, sorry this part probably isn't very interesting. But at least you're seeing how I do it, right? Hopefully it'll help you through some ideas for your own little project. You just never know where it all will take you. Okay, so this is that slide. This is that slide. And now, one little sailboat and then these sailboats, I think. So let's go ahead and trim the bottom a little bit. Okay. So both of the next two pictures that I take are side by side from each other. So I can cut this all at the same time. And then I want it to break probably about right here. Maybe more like here. Okay. So this one's a little too wide. I just need to trim it down. That will be my next slide, and then this will be the top slide. But do I want to take the big boat? I think I do. All right, so let's trim the white border off. And then just lining this last one up. Now you can definitely do this with scissors. I don't have a very straight cut, and I just kind of wanted this to be precise, so that's why I did it with the trimmer. Normally though, I just use my scissors for most all my cuts. Yeah, this is just garbage. Set it aside. All right, now, sorry, I just had to reach for my little glue book. So the bottom picture. What do you think, you guys? Do you like it? It's distracting with that color underneath though, isn't it? Try it that way. So then all I'm doing is kind of centering it between the two edge borders. If it's not exactly straight, it's okay. And then this little boat was next. And then this little one after that. And we're almost done. Quick project, huh? But hopefully it'll give you something to do with these stray pieces of, you know, edging from your spiral papers. And then the last sailboat. And it looks like a little strip from, you know, a vacation. So, 2 different vacations. I'm not sure where this one was. Where's that other piece of paper? I can glue it to the back. There it is. So, Regatta at St. Address. I don't know where that is. The picture is at the Metropolitan in New York City. 1867 is when the painting was actually done. So, I guess I'll have to look it up. I'm not familiar with this painting as much as some of the others. I think most people are familiar with like his lily pads and his impressionism more than these paintings. And then this, and it's just the information on the painting itself. Sticky. All right. So that's my project. Pretty cool, huh? Alrighty, so give it a try. If you make them, post them, you know, on our group wall so you can see them. If you're not part of the group, we are Junk Journal Junkies etc. And the link is in the description of my video. We have a lot of fun there. And there's a whole bunch of creatives there, not just me. Some of them much more talented than I. But yes, enjoy the rest of your evening, folks, and I'll see you next time.